Okay, so good morning, and we're here from Ubisoft Pune to give you guys insight on what we've been studying over the last year and a half or so on social gaming, and specifically for Facebook, because I mean, if you just look at the numbers, it's got 500 million plus active users every month. It's got, every month, people spend 700 billion minutes on Facebook. Like the sum total of the total amount of time spent on Facebook by all the people is like 700 million minutes. And every day, 11 million people check their farms on Farmville. So seeing these numbers, it's really like a no-brainer that Facebook is like this big thing that's happening. It's a revolution. And Ubisoft has, for the last year and a half, for the last 2 years, been putting together studios all across the world in trying to understand how Facebook works, how Facebook games work. And basically the Ubisoft Pune studio has a small team which is a part of this global circuit, you could say, of trying to figure out social gaming on Facebook. Especially on Facebook, we're going to only be looking at Facebook today. And so basically we're going to be taking you through what we have overall defined as a successful social game. Now whatever the context is, whether it's a mafia game or a farming game or a city building game, we're going to be taking you through what we have studied and what we believe make up a good social game. So before we start, a little introduction to who we are. So that's me, Ayushman. I'm a game designer. I've worked in Ubisoft for around 3 years. I used to be a tester before that. And for this presentation, I'm going to be talking about what, in the sense that what features make a social game a social game. And yeah, so I've worked on a couple of DS titles before this, and then I've been working on social games. We can't really tell you what games we've been working on because there's some, he's not allowed to disclose. Yeah, there's a confidentiality in that. But yeah, so basically we're going to be doing that.
Hi, I'm Heather. I'm a game designer at Ubisoft. I work mainly on the iPhone and on Facebook. And I'm going to talk about how it's done. Like, how do we go making certain features in a social game. And I've been with Ubisoft for around 2 years. And I'm a game designer. And that's what I do.
Hi, I'm Bhavin Sagar and I work as an economic designer. I was a game designer before that a QC lead, and before that a tester. And as an economic designer, I design the economy for all the social games and brings the business model with it and does a lot of monetization work. And I have worked on a lot of Ubisoft Facebook games, more than like 4 or 5. Currently also I'm working with Ayushman for his new game where I like changed a lot of numbers there. So let's get into it and let's see how it works.
Yeah, so moving on. We'll give you like a brief introduction first of what a social game is, just as a core experience. So first of all, it's a casual experience, so there's no like, you know, like big RPG systems involved. It's very simple. Like if you look at Farmville, you just go click and you harvest and that's it. So the core gameplay, the essential thing that the player does in the game has to be very casual, very simple, so that like 12-year-old kids can play, 55-year-old moms can play while their kids are at school and things like that. So it has to be a very casual, play with friends. Now this is something that has to be an intrinsic part of the game. You can't put this in later because it's on a social platform. So all your games need to be like right from the beginning. You have to be like, how do I play it with my friends? And fun competition. This is again like yesterday at the other presentation, people were talking about bragging rights and stuff. It has to be fun. It doesn't have to be hardcore. It's not like, oh, I shot you in the head 5 times, but it's all like, oh, my farm is prettier than yours kind of. So the competition has to be on a very fun level. And meaningful cooperation. So this is another thing which is now the big thing in social games. It wasn't so much before, but it's basically nowadays if you play the new social games that are out like Frontierville and Ravenwood Fair and stuff, you'll see that in order to progress in the game beyond a certain point, you'll always need your friends to help you and you have to cooperate, and it builds this community, and that's what we mean by meaningful cooperation. Key ingredients for a social game. So this is, now we'll just take you through some ingredients that you would need in your game. Customization. Now this is the main thing that drives a social game. There are like so many millions of people who are playing the game, and you have to have a customization system that's deep enough so that all your players have different looking farms or cities or tractors or whatever it is. So there has to be a very deep level of customization. Every single thing should be customized, so players can really express themselves. Which brings us to the next point, self-expression. Now the difference between self-expression and customization is that you have a lot of different people playing your game from a lot of different parts of the country, of the world, with a lot of different cultural backgrounds. So you need to provide them with all the different options for customization. So like here you see Nightclub City. If you're like a 80s glam rock fan, then you can dress yourself up as Kiss. Whereas if you're in the Christmas mood in Petville, you can dress yourself up, you can dress your pad up in the Christmas spirit. So the whole point is not just provide a deep customization system, but provide enough options so players from whatever background, whatever cultural backgrounds they are from, they get to choose that, okay, this is my theme and I'm going to do it like this. Social experience. Now this is also something that everyone demands nowadays in a Facebook game. You have to have a social experience. Players should always be knowing what their friends are up to, and it has to create this social community in your game. Casual experience is something we talked about just like 5 minutes back. And it's just that, like if you look at these slides, it's basically your level 3 and you can buy this and you can give this and you know close in 8 hours. So it's very simple, it's casual, everything is open to the user knows exactly what's happening. He can plan his day around his game or vice versa, or whatever it is, depending on how into the game he is. But it has to be very easy for the player to understand what's happening. Alt-tab gameplay. Now this is something which is very popular, especially amongst the working players, the players who are working in offices and stuff. So you have to always provide gameplay over time, so that the player just does a few clicks and then comes back after 4 hours, alt tabs to Firefox and again does a few clicks. So this is the kind of gameplay that you should expect the players to play. Yeah, and growth over time. This is also something very important. Like if you look at Farmville, when you start, you've got 6 patches of land, and after I think a million years or something, your farm's going to end up looking like that. So this gives like a great growth over time, and all the games should show this, so that if you've been playing the game for like a year, and there's someone who just starts playing the game, when he visits you, he'll be like wow, that guy's like been playing the game for a year. And player types.
Yeah, sure. We have mainly 3 types of players. They're the money-rich players. We call our whales. They're the people who pay to play a free game. Then you have the time-rich players. They spend a lot of time trying to achieve what the money-rich players already do by just paying $5 and getting a nice looking, say, farm. And a time-rich player would spend like an hour every day or like twice every day just to try to get the same farm that money-rich player has. And then you have friend-rich players, players who have a lot of friends. They're your social types. They're the ones who make new friends while playing the game, the ones who socialize more while playing the game. And they also achieve the same goal but by having more friends.
Okay, so now we're going to go into not too much of detail because we're kind of keeping the presentation a little general, but we're going to go into all the different factors, like all the different gameplay types that define a social game that we've been studying for like a couple of years. We've been studying all the big names, all the big games, and we've kind of broken a social game down into these factors. And if you're developing a social game or if you're thinking about working on it, these are the different factors that we believe make or break your game. So the first thing is player acquisition. So this is divided into 2 parts. Player acquisition is basically how does your game reach out and get new players, and also acquiring their emails and making them like your fan page and getting them to allow you to publish and things like that. So moving on, Heather is going to take you through how the popular games do it.
Okay, like where do we get our players from? Farmville have 60 million monthly active users, but where do these 60 million people come to the game from? A large percentage of your player base comes from other social games of the same brand name. That's why Zynga is doing so well. They have like the big IPs such as Farmville, Mafia Wars, Cafe One. And whenever they put a new game up, like a Farmville player would want to play Frontier because it's Zynga, and they cross-promote their games. Like if I do something in Farmville, I'll get this cool gun in Mafia Wars. So I've never played Mafia Wars before, but since I'm playing Farmville, I want this nice tree in Farmville. So I would play Mafia Wars for a day just to get that tree, and then I would get hooked on to Mafia Wars. So cross-promotions are really large traffic source. For independent companies to get into the social gaming industry, they don't have a player base. They need to make their player base. That's when you have cross-promotion arms, such as Amplifier and AppStrip, where the small independent games, they promote each other. Another place where you get your players from is the Facebook's game dashboard. Facebook advertises your game for you. When you go to apps there, you can see they'll cycle around 4 games right now, and every 5 minutes those 4 games change. So through the dashboard is another good source of player traffic. Then you have external sites such as Inside Social Games that they analyze a lot of social games. Many people they come through external links. And actually this would be surprising, but the smallest amount of people, they come through your Facebook wall posts. Like, how many of you use Facebook? How many of you play Facebook games? I mean, do you ever find those Facebook wall posts like XYZ has just hacks just ticking in Farmville? Facebook tried to take care of that, they got rid of that. Like the wall post, now you just see XYZ is playing Farmville. But the least amount of traffic is coming from those wall posts. But they still have them in. Going on. Another thing, when a user needs to start playing a Facebook game, the developer. Stream is your Facebook wall stream.
Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, just feel free to raise your hand whenever you want.
Anytime during the presentation.
We'll just answer it there.
Okay. Now, when I start playing a social game, I need to give some information to the developer. So this has to be approved via Facebook permission request. So you need some information like the rights to use the player's profile picture, his friends list. Also his email address and rights to post to his wall. And you want to make him like your application and subscribe to your application. So you have this thing called the progress bar. Upon completing the progress bar, you always reward the player with something. Inside, that cannot be very specific. I cannot tell you like the application and I'll give you this cool new tree that only you will get. Because Facebook has some policies and you're not supposed to directly reward a player for liking your application, but internally in game you could reward him for liking the application without being explicit.
Yes, now let's get into how much we should give. This is actually, we should plan in the game economy itself when you're making the economy for the game. That will I cover in the later part of the presentation. But any action that player do in the game, we need to reward the player. And here the player is giving his personal information to the developer and trusting the developer by all the means. So that's why we need the player to give the reward in a sense that it will help the player in the game, not just some cash or some IGC or whatever, but it will help the player in the game. So anything that you send to the player through mail or through in-game events, so he will feel reward. So this is what actually you should be doing whenever you do the player acquisition. Give him the reward which will help in the game, not just for a temporary, but will help in the game. So this is what we try to do.
Yeah, like for example, if you look at Cafe World, if you finish the entire bar, you get this thing called a super stove. And what that does is, so everyone's going to just click on the links to get the super stove, because you just have to click once and your entire dish is cooked. But in this retrospect, what happens is the player has liked it and he's allowed publishing. So from now on, whenever you update something on the fan page, he sees it on his wall and he's like, oh cool, there's stuff happening. And there's also the fact that you can now anonymously post on his wall updates of his gameplay without asking him allow to post and stuff. So this is kind of what's happening in the background, but the player's just doing it to get the super stove so he can cook his food in one click. Okay, moving on to virality.